We've talked to Mr. Rittenhouse, and I'm going to be asking the court for a mistrial.
Again, I'm going to say
the fate of more than 2 weeks of emotional testimony, long lists of witnesses, and several viral moments in the Kyle-Rittenhouse trial could all come down to the quality of a video. Rittenhouse's attorneys asked the judge to declare a mistrial a total of 3 times over drone video evidence. We have team coverage of what's at issue and what this could mean for the trial, and we start with Brady Mallory.
Well, defense attorneys say they received a lower quality copy of drone video presented by the prosecution. Now, here's why that's an issue. They claim the one they had doesn't show the same imagery as what the prosecution had, and they would have approached things differently if they had received the higher quality video earlier. Defense attorney Jessa Nicholson, who we've been talking with, says a mistrial can happen whenever there's any error in a trial that renders a jury unable to make a fair decision. That brings us to the difference between a mistrial with and without prejudice. Without prejudice usually means some sort of an oversight and would allow prosecution a do-over to retry Rittenhouse. Nicholson says a mistrial with prejudice is the opposite.
The written motion that the defense filed was alleging exactly that the prosecution acted in bad faith, and that bad faith acting warrants a mistrial with prejudice, which means they could not retry Mr. Rittenhouse if that were granted.
Now, the judge has said the mistrial request would be made without prejudice, meaning prosecutors could still retry Rittenhouse. Well, things concluded today without that decision. Nicholson says we may find out whether the judge will grant this request tomorrow.
With the court now looking into the video evidence, a verdict from the jury may not come as soon as some people originally thought. Let's now go to Eric Franke, who's live in Kenosha. Eric, have you noticed any changes in mood down there since yesterday?
You know, other than a brief skirmish here, Charlotte, it's been pretty calm. And you mentioned that, you know, the jury taking a break tonight. The way this has happened is Judge Bruce Schrader giving a poll to the jurors to see when they want to be done. They decided to call it a day after 2 full days of deliberation, about 5 o'clock tonight. It's about an hour earlier than they did after day 1. But for the most part outside, people have been patiently waiting. There have been people on both sides in support of the 2 individuals that were shot, and then others who were in support of Kyle Rittenhouse. So the people that have been waiting outside, for the most part, it's been pretty peaceful. There have been a few, you know, exchanges where people are shouting back and forth, but other than that, it's been pretty peaceful. Now, the one exception was just before 4 o'clock today, there was a fight that broke out on the steps of the courthouse here behind us. It started on the steps, spilled over into the grass. Police are only about 100 feet away from the scene of that. And they were just kind of sitting there observing, making sure it wasn't getting out of hand. They're not responding clearly to every single incident that happens, every single exchange. But then it spilled across 56th Street, which runs in front of the courthouse here, stopping traffic. There was a large crowd gathering. Police then came in and took 2 people into custody. We don't know what charges or anything like that at this point in time. But for the most part, like I said, it's been very peaceful out here. Now, one other thing we want to mention, the Kenosha Police Department is aware of numerous attempts by who they determine to be malicious actors who are trying to spread disinformation on social media to act like there's some kind of threat here. But they say right now there's no credible threat to public safety out here. And they want to continue to have people follow their lead and follow them on Facebook, Kenosha Police Department. But again, there are 3 layers of protection here. Kenosha Police, county deputies are here as well, plus the National Guard that have been mobilized are kind of waiting in the wings should anything get out of hand. But so far, as we mentioned, it's been pretty peaceful here outside of that one little skirmish that happened. Again, the jury taking a break at 5. They'll resume deliberations at 9 in the morning. As far as how long they'll continue to deliberate is anyone's guess. Charlotte?
Eric Franke reporting live for us from Kenosha tonight. Eric, thank you.